Alright, so many people have been tagging me on this video, and I want you to watch it for yourself for a few seconds.
Does God pray to God? Does God pray to God?
Does God pray to God?
Yeah, does God pray to God?
How can God?
Doesn't make sense. You're right. So here, Jesus went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "Oh my Father, if it is possible, let this cup
You're
pass
reading
from me."
Matthew.
Yeah, I am
Just
Matthew.
before he died.
Okay.
Before he got on the cross.
Okay.
They were crucifying.
Okay.
That's why he had to pray.
So, but he was
So
not. So wait, so if he was God on earth, how can God pray to God?
You see, in this video and in many others, there's a fundamental error, which is the error of the wrong premise. And it goes thus: if your premise is wrong, your conclusion will be wrong. So the logic of this argument, the premise of this argument goes thus: God cannot pray, Jesus prayed, therefore Jesus is not God. But is it true though? I'm going to prove to you both in the Quran and in the Bible that that is far from the truth. I want to start with Hebrews chapter 1 from verse 8. I want you to follow me closely. In verse 8 it says, "But to the Son he says, God says, your throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of righteousness is the scepter of your kingdom." So listen, we see God praying to Jesus. What does it mean to pray? It means to communicate with God. And by Jesus being called God, it means that God was communicating with God, which is the Trinity argument of the Christian faith. All right. And so here we see God communicating with God. So can God pray? Emphatically so. And in the Quran, in three texts, chapter 2 verse 157, 33 verse 56, 33 verse 43, it tells you that Allah prays. And you know, in the English translation it may use some other word besides pray, but the Arabic actually says salat or salawat, which is actually to pray. I'll read the last one, 33 verse 43. It says, "Here it is Allah who prays for you, and to the angels too, to bring you forth out of darkness into light, for he is merciful to the believers." So the Christian faith simply says this, that God is one God in three persons, co-equal and co-eternal, and God sent his Son into the world. And just because he's in the world doesn't mean he loses his ability to communicate, which is what we call prayer. And in fact, if you're having a problem with the fact that Jesus prays and you think that because Jesus prayed he therefore isn't God, think about it. In the prayers that he made, are these the words of a mere man? Look at John chapter 17, for instance. Jesus is praying here. And in verse 1 it says, "Father, the hour has come, glorify your Son, that your Son may glorify you." What man would dare pray like this? In verse 2 he says, "As you have given him authority over all flesh." Authority over all flesh. Even in the Quran, only God has authority over all flesh. And not just that, that he should give eternal life to as many as you have given to him. So he has the right to give eternal life to everyone who believes in him. Only God can do this. Jesus is God and Jesus prays to God. Both are true. I hope that blessed you. Share with someone.